in the centre. The umpires hold the footy aloft, and we are about to get underway again in the second term here on Main FM, simulcast with Pulse and Goldfields FM. Up at Wen in the centre of the ground. Reid first hand on the ball. It's spilled out wide to Matthew Smith. That's the Maryborough Castlemaine version, whose left foot kick bounces down towards half forward. Too tight on the line though before Rascola arrives, and it is out of play. When you're ready, Poss, we'll get a little summary of the stats in that first term as well, as the umpire throws the footy in. Geez, a big jumping ruckman is Wilson. He leaped high then, got hands on the footy, but his little men couldn't quite take advantage of his work. Matt Smith again of Maryborough Castlemaine got hold of it, kicks it into Rascola. He's a left footer, so he wheels around that way, goes inboard there to Driscoll. That's Cody Driscoll taken off the footy, and the handball comes out to Parker, who will clear for Geelong District. His kick was a bit hot for McLeod. They drifted over him. Reid gathered it. Gee, good tackle from Santo, took the big man down. Ball spilled free. Spalding arrived. He was taken. Should have been holding the footy. Didn't get boot to it in the tackle. Umpire let it go. Parkin arrives to support him, and his kick finds Joel Cross, who marks it 60 metres out. Wheels around on the right boot, but it's another poor option, and Collins gets back. He probably could have marked it in the end, but instead he went the two-fister over the line, 35 metres around from goal. Poss, you want to run us through a couple of stats while the umpire brings it in? No, he's too quick.
He's too quick. I was just keeping me on him, but
he was.
Take it away, Stewie.
Strickland did the ruck work for Maryborough Castlemaine. It's spilled. Now we've got a whistle, in fact. It's going to be a Geelong and District free kick going to Corey Collins. There you go, Poss. There's your window.
No worries. In the centre clearance, it was 4-3, Maryboroug's favour. Free kick, 6-3, Maryboroug's favour. Inside 50 is pretty close, 11-10, again in Maryboro's favour. Marks inside 50, 5-3, Geelong's way, and it was 7 shots to 4 in Geelong, the Raiders' favour in that quarter.
Now, Collins' kick was chopped off in the middle of the ground. It came all the way back into the pocket, where it's been chopped off again by Collins. He mops up. Goes sideways to Wilson in his defensive goal square. That was Luke. He goes to McLeod. He's a Sam Mitchell sort of a type, is McLeod. Gives a little handball to Fletcher. His kick was poor, but the marking attempt from Josh Driscoll was equally poor. It bounced off his chest. He had Spalding with him. Awkward kick. Goes towards half forward. Bouncing footy off the hands of the pack. Did well. Richard was strong. Heavy tackle applied there from Driscoll of Maryborough Castlemaine. Ball still 2 kicks from home. Rascola found a way free. McLeod just got a little hand in on his kick though. It comes out. Little handball. There's 24 again. Poss, I've got to find out who that is. It came to Matt Smith. He fumbled. Working hard in there. Driscoll. Gee, this footy's frenetic at the moment. There's no half measures in this interleague contest. As Asplin's handball to Matt Smith. He was swamped. Whitney. He was swamped. They dive on top of him and they create a ball up. Gee,
it's like they're never going to see another football, and they all want to take that one home, don't they?
That was grand final intensity.
That's fantastic.
Now,
football.
I don't suppose you had word on who 24 for Geelong
not
District
yet,
is.
but I'll get the apprentice onto that one.
Yeah, we'll work on that. There's been a little number change that we haven't received yet, so we've got a whistle now. The umpire just pinging a high contact there from Parkin on Dylan Whitney, who's been pretty good. He has a goal this afternoon. Just slipping. It's a little bit greasy after a bit of rain yesterday. We've seen a few players slip. The surface is hard, but it's also a little bit slick on top, which is a hard one when you're choosing your boots. Now, we've got a free kick from that half-forward contest there. It's going to Spalding, who's had a lot of the footy. He sweeps it back across the ground and went to Stewart, who goes further afield to Matt Smith. Again, Maryborough Castlemaine happy to use little short passes. They find Parker now at half-back. Just holds the ball, then goes longer towards half forward. Driscoll came out on a lead again.
Well
good
taken.
punch from Addy. It just spilled off the pack towards Matt Brown, who was taking a good tackle. I'm not sure he disposed of that one legally. Umpire let it go. It came out to Addy. His handball put a teammate under pressure. It was Fletcher who was dragged down, but they've got numbers in support there. Chalice on the outer side combines with Whitney. They sweep it into the middle, and Parker, he just couldn't quite get a handle on the footy though. They cough it up now. Folks fighting his way through a couple of tackles, had support with Sellers, got it to Templeton. He was under the pump and he couldn't get boot to ball in the tackle. It was a good tackle applied from the Geelong District's Buddy, and he will take the free kick right on centre wing outer side as it's kicked into the middle, and Whitney, who gives it to McLeod. He goes towards Smith. He had a fair bit of it, couldn't quite complete the mark, then might have got one in the back. Umpire said play on. We've got a pack. We're 70 metres out from the Geelong District goal. It spills out Maryborough Castlemaine's way. Little handball came out to Driscoll, who kicks towards Strickland. He took the fly, staying on the ground though. Reading it better was Rickard. Got support from Eddie. He goes the old 1-2, gets it back again. Sorry, Eddie, not Eddie. He was taken high though by Strickland, I reckon. Umpire said no.
Geez, you reckon he's had enough opportunity to get rid of that ball? He's
to be
very fortunate.
Had to be either holding the ball or too high, I would have thought, but instead we got a ball up. Wilson went up unopposed. He tapped it into the path of a running play there in Phyllis. His handball was pretty good back into the middle, and Chalice, he goes across the ground, sets a bit of a task there for Buddy on the lead. He's still 60 from goal as he gathers, working close to the line. He was bustled over in the tackle, and we will see a boundary throw-in. We're 60 metres from the Geelong District goal. They lead 5-1 to 2-2. We've gone nearly 6 minutes in this second term, still haven't seen a score. So,
now, Stewie, just quickly, that 24, have you got a 22 down there? Because we've been told it's Jack Browman.
I'll get to that in a sec, but it was knocked from Reed to Parkin, who burst away from the pack. He went towards Matt Brown. He couldn't quite gather it. Rickard mops up for the Geelong and District. I'll just check my list in a sec here, Poss, when I get a chance to take my eye off it. Fletcher now at half-back for Geelong. Wheeled it out. Gee, the mark was dropped there by Phyllis. He was all on his own. It went through his hands and out of bounds at half-back. Just line me up there again,
We've
mate.
got, there's 22 as Jack Browman.
Browman is in 24.
That's the word we've been given, but we shall stand to be corrected if anyone can give us some help.
He's been prominent, so we'll start to put a name to the number now with Browman. Now the throw-in on the outer side, half forward for Maryborough Castlemaine is extracted by Aspland, whose kick comes in to Cody Driscoll. He's got Strickland on the opposite side of the ground, doesn't choose to go there though. Instead, it goes into Matt Brown, who just read it better. Collins was trying to get back in his space, but Brown read the footy nicely, took the chest mark, and will go back and kick from 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle. And Wixie, this has been as intense a quarter of footy as you'll ever see.
It has for no result, hasn't it? Like, it's just been going back and forwards, and finally a shot on goal.
6-1 inside 50s, and this is the first real attempt at scoring.
Brown's kick is off to the left-hand side. That's a poor miss again, and they are 2-3 now. Maryborough Castlemaine trailing 5-1, and that is our first score, 7 minutes 15 into the second quarter. So anybody who doesn't think interleague footy means much to the players should see the tackling pressure that's been applied here. Now Templeton picks the pocket of his opponent there in Addy, took the mark, brought it back into the top of the square, and Ashley Driscoll takes the mark 10 metres out. It was a long kick in there from Parker, but Templeton just read it better, jumped over the intended target, marked it 50 out, wheeled it into the top of the square, where Driscoll marks and strolls in from 15 metres, pops it straight through. That's his first. Ashley Driscoll has been very prominent for Navarre this year in the Maryborough Castlemaine League. He pegs it back. We're back to 3-3, Maryborough Castlemaine 5-1, the Geelong District Raiders. I like that name, Poss.
Yes. Let's, we shouldn't be biased, but yeah.
It's got Indiana Jones connotations.
A little bit of it, yep. With?
Yeah, the
Actually, I've got
District
those
Raiders.
boots on again, speaking of that too.
Yeah.
I know, what is he, the producer today? What's the old mate over here doing?
Yeah, we've got
Sidekick?
We've got the great
Director of football.
David Dimp Stretch in the producer's chair.
I didn't actually hear that comment last week, Stretchy. You'll have to repeat it later.
Everyone joining us on Pulse FM and Goldfields FM, our button pusher, David Stretch, doing a wonderful job as we're in the centre of the ground. Reed went a second time at the footy, couldn't quite get hold of it. They're still tracking it out to the wing. We've got a whistle.
There's
the
that
free
man.
kick, and there he is, Jack Broman. I'm going to go with Broman, who has the free kick, just defensive side of centre wing. Been pretty good too. He's got a little short option in the middle of the ground in Chalice, which he goes to. He played on. Smith was on his hammer, just probably pressured the kick a little, but gee, standing tall, just nonchalant sort of stuff there. Standing tall in the pack and taking the mark was Derek Fitzsimmons. That was your real sort of shelling pea stuff from Fitzsimmons out there. He just stood tall in the pack, marked it easy as you like, and then strolled back as it happens every day.
Almost a kick it to me type of result.
Now it'll take a good kick this. He's 40 metres out on a reasonable angle underneath the scoreboard in the pocket. He comes in, just narrow, and 5-2 now. The Raiders leading the Maryborough Castlemaine Lions, who are 3 goals 3, as the kick comes in. Little short one into Maryborough Castlemaine's Matt Smith. He goes short as well to Mitch Kennedy, who we haven't seen a lot of today as yet. The little short one again, and they find Spalding. He's still only just outside his defensive 50, and now he kicks long and direct past centre wing, and gee, good mark too, coming in from the side, was taken by Barr. They waste no time, move it into Brown, who comes out on a good lead and takes the mark. That was a nice kick in there from, I think it was Templeton who had that one on the boot, and nothing a defender can do about that sort of delivery. Wixie, lace out in front of the leading forward. Plenty of pressure coming from behind from his opponent Yaddy, but not much he can do.
No, that's how you want the ball coming, and that coming from Templeton, who's just starting to get into the game now. So,
as Brown will kick from 45, it just hangs a little in the air, but this is a better option. He has put it through for his second, and here come the Lions. They are now 4 goals 3, trailing Geelong District, who are 5 goals 2, as Daniel Parkin comes back onto the ground for Maryborough Castlemaine.
Maryborough absolutely dominating this second quarter. It's 8 inside 50s to 3. There's only been 1 centre clearance, but the marks inside 50, Driscoll's had 1 and Brown 2, so the forwards are certainly presenting quite well there today, but just the dominance of getting the ball forward to give them the option of scoring.
It's funny how we often see one end of the ground score more in the final series here in the Maryborough Castlemaine. We're seeing it today to this Maryborough end, the Rotunda end. But this time Geelong District win the clearance in the centre of the ground through Chalice. Spalding, though, at half back, been very good, got the spoil on. There's a contest on, but Geelong won it nicely there. Kick it in board, off hands, it stays inside their forward 50. Hard attack on the ball there. Came from Kennedy. It'll be coughed up. Gee, just went back with the one hand. Then Wilson wasn't the most I'm trying to think of a nice way to say that he squibbed it, to be honest. He didn't. He went back with the one hand.
Ungracious.
Yeah, it comes to Rascola now at half forward for Maryborough Castlemaine. Probably the most intense effort, I guess, was the word I was searching for, Wixie. But gee, he went back with the one hand then a bit unconvincingly, didn't he?
He did. I know what you meant to say to everyone else.
Yeah, I was trying to find a nice way to say it, but in the end, there probably wasn't.
Now, from the resultant free kick where that one went out of bounds, the Geelong District player didn't quite see who it was. He's just kicked it straight into the man on the mark, Matt Brown, and we're out having a throw in 50 metres out from the Maryborough goal.
So it is 5 goals to Geelong, 4-3 Maryborough. We've gone 12.5 minutes in the second quarter here. Pilgrim did the ruck work, just smashes it into a dangerous space, 40 metres out from goal. Heavy tackle there applied from DiSanto. Comes back to Templeton. Little kick was clever. He just waited up and chipped it out to Strickland, who was waiting in a bit of space on the wider side of the ground there, 45 metres out from goal, and he will go back and have a shot to bring this margin, in fact, to take the lead for Maryborough Castlemaine here. They trail by 5 points. Mark Strickland, who is a very good kick for goal, plays for Trentham in the Maryborough Castlemaine Football and Netball League. We'll kick this from 45 metres. It's tight on the left post, but it straightens. It is through, and Maryborough Castlemaine hit the front in the second quarter here after trailing by almost 3 goals at quarter time, 2 goals 5 at quarter time. They now lead by a point.
That Templeton's had a hand in the last 3 goals with use, so they might want to tighten up one.
Yeah, and as I speak, he's on the wing now, and he's got about a 15-metre leg rope on. Wixie, but no, now a man's coming. It's Fursland who's coming across to stand him. So
he's going to have to stick real tight.
Yeah, need to put a bit more attention into him perhaps. Wilson again jumped high, knocked it back, but gee, coming in hard off the line there was Barr. He actually just almost created high contact then, such was the ferocity he attacked the footy with. He takes it in the middle. In fact, it wasn't Barr, it was in fact Kennedy who took the free kick, and goes again to that man, Matthew Brown, who again had his opponent in Parsons right on his hammer, but again was good enough to take the chest mark on the lead at full space.
I'm really liking this forward setup with Brown as the lead out target, the running leading target, and Driscoll staying back in the square using the body. It's a really good setup Shane Fisher's got going.
Now Brown will have to kick this every bit of 50 metres to clear the players on the line. He hit it nicely, but again he has just tugged it off to the left. They double the lead though, the Lions. They now at the nearly 15-minute mark of the second quarter lead by 2 points. That is 5-4 to 5-2 as it is brought in by Parker with a long kick. And gee, it was a very good mark taken there at half back for the Geelong District. I think it was Whitney. He wheeled around on that left boot, goes towards half forward. Gee, had to be a free kick there for Broman. He was over the footy and was taken high, and he does get it. Still 2 kicks from home as he directs a bit of traffic and then brings it in towards the forward 50. Big punch down there came from Stewart doing the crumbing work, the big man in Miller, and snapping it back. Well, it's been marked actually. I thought it was heading over the line, but it has been gobbled up there.
In the hands of Rickard.
Yeah, the mark was dropped, and he had a real good second effort and got it and kicked it down there.
I must admit, I thought that was just going to trickle over the boundary line then, but he
just sort of sat up and floated. I think it's Steve Rickard.
As he comes in and shoots from only 15 metres out in the forward pocket, and he has created a goal there. It might be Buddy, I reckon. We'll just wait and see as he turns around, or is it in fact... Was it Buddy, or was it McLeod? There, it may well be into that pocket. I'll leave you with that one, Poss. You'll confirm that. But anyway, it's a goal to the Geelong District after, well, out of nothing really. That footy I thought was just destined to bounce harmlessly and go over the line, but a great effort. Saw the mark taken and a very nice goal kicked. It was the captain, Jackson McLeod. He's been very impressive, and he regains the lead for his side. They're up by 4 points now as they win the clearance again through Whitney. Front position, Holsveen took a sharp mark and half forward and then goes to Buddy in the pocket. Gee, just couldn't quite hold the sliding mark, and he let the ball spill free where Folkes was able to gather it. He kicks it to the outer side, too wide though, and out of bounds on the full. So the free kick will go. Oh gee, pretty generous with the way the mark's been set there, I would have thought.
Pretty ordinary kick back from the old mate in the crowd. He just speared it into a couple of spectators in front of him.
Bit rough from the delivery back there. Wilson's got the free kick. Luke Wilson, he goes towards half forward. Big, high pack of players flew. Little handball there came to Holsveen. He just couldn't gather. It was a little bit hot for him. And now Maryborough Castlemaine away through Driscoll. Kicks to half forward. Brown again. Full stretch, took the mark.
Down in the back play too, Stewie.
Strickland. He goes to Strickland, who's in best position. He got hands on it, just dropped the mark. He's got Ashley Driscoll there as support. He had a little fumble. He wanted a handball and he couldn't find anyone. He was strong though in the tackle. Got the handball off to Nick Wright, who snapped on goal. Poor kick though, and is marked in the pocket. They should have done better than Maryborough Castlemaine. Parker snapped it up, and then a little chip out to Luke Wilson, who will drive this towards Whitney, who's got the set. He came from behind on Cummings. He couldn't quite take the mark. Goes again at ground level.
Free kick to Parker and held without the ball.
Yeah, it is a free kick. It was a 2-on-1, and Whitney just gave away the little free kick for holding. Comes to Joel Cross. Still 2 kicks from home. Wheels it into the pocket. Driscoll's his target, but getting back in front of him was Parker. Fists the ball over the boundary line and out of bounds 15 metres round from the behind post.
The Raiders captain McLeod, Andrew McLeod, he's up. He just took a heavy bump, a heavy landing there in that marking contest, and looked in a bit of bad shape, but he's just sort of resting down in the forward line at the moment.
So they lead by 4 points, do the Raiders. 18.5 minutes into the second quarter. Here's the umpire. Finally gets the ball back from where it was knocked well out of the field of play and throws it in deep in the Maryborough Castlemaine forward line. Wilson, knocked that into a dangerous spot back towards the goal square. They mop it up though. Little kick from DiSanto came around the corner, but not far enough. It has been marked, and probably lucky not to be 50 metres. It is marked by Park, and he will centre it. Oh gee, finds Nick Wright.
I think 99% of the crowd was expecting that was meant to go to his teammate there in Damon Asplin, but it was actually Nick Wright who was the only one who had vision for that ball.
It was a slow old short pass from Park, and he was only 25 metres out to start with. He's probably put Wright back a couple of metres, but straighter, and the kick, in fact, goes off hands. That was only 35 to 40 metres. He got right under that, didn't make the distance. So we're back to 3 points in favour of the Geelong Raiders as Parker brings it in again. He's a long kick. Gee, big fly there. That came from Brown, but he couldn't take the mark. That was almost footy legends material there, as it's chipped in the meantime into the pocket towards Brown. It was at his laces, he couldn't get it, and the heavy tackle was applied. Free kick going Maryborough Castlemaine's way, and it'll be Aspland who will take it out there. Damon Aspland has it. He's starting his run at the 50-metre chalk mark, almost where it intersects the boundary line.
Free out on this wing, out in this pocket.
Man on the mark is 35. He kicks it to the goal square. Another big fly, but geez,
he's actually
flown through for a point.
The Geelong Raiders player just flew straight into the pole then, and it was Tom Parsons.
Yeah, he did. It was a big jump. Ash Driscoll was trying to claim the mark. It was all happening. In the end, the umpires have decided it was over the line, as Parker almost ran out of the goal square to kick it in. It's all happening as we're back to just 2 points of difference in favour of Geelong. Entertaining game of footy here on Main FM, simulcast with Pulse and Highlands FM as a pack's formed at half forward. The handball came out to Matt Smith of Geelong. He lost the foot. He didn't know where it was. He was turning around in circles for a moment there. The kick comes back in towards half forward, but mopped up by Rickett. He handballs it, misses the mark, then goes and gets it again. A bit of fatigue into this last few minutes of the quarter. Collins, cool head, chipped it out to Rickett, who wastes no time, gives the little handball over the top. They're away here if the ball sits and stays inboard, the Raiders. They get it back in the hands there of Rickett, who handballs it further afield again. They'll drive it inside, forward 50. Miller the target, use the body, and on the second attempt, takes a strong mark, and will go back and kick from 25 metres out on a very slight angle. Very kickable one this, and doesn't that hurt you so often, Wixie? We've seen Maryborough Castlemaine have a multitude of chances, haven't taken the most of them, and it comes straight down the other end. Mark taken and probably a goal coming up.
No, that's right, mate. The ball's been down in their forward 50 for 10 minutes and nothing's happened, and as you said, bang down that end, and that's a goal to the Raiders.
It is a goal to Miller. It's an awkward kicking style he's got, but it was effective on that occasion, and he extends the margin out to 8 points with Geelong 7th. His bit of a wasteful 5-goal-6.
And again, like the first quarter, they're absolutely dominating the inside 50s total for the match. It's 22-15, but you know, Maryborough just can't get a break. When they get inside 50, the defence is standing up for the Geelong Raiders.
Couple of poor shots on goal too from the Lions. As Reid jumped high, he knocked it into the path there of Aspland, but he just couldn't quite get the run on the footy. Still they scrap for it in the centre of the ground. Handball, chain of handballs in fact, ends with Reid, who just off the one step bangs it high. Heavy punch there came from Collins. He knocked it back towards half forward, and the free kick has gone Maryborough Castlemaine's way. They wheel it in. Oh, gee, almost a one-hander taken by Driscoll there. It was a hot footy. He stuck the one Duke out and almost polished it off, but they take it away, the Geelong defence, to Whitney at half back. He will kick to the grandstand side. We haven't seen much footy on the grandstand side today. Barr, his handball was smothered. Now they're away through Smith, Geelong. His handball put a teammate in, McNamara, under a little bit of pressure, but he was good enough to flick it out to Chalice, who sets sail for home from 45 metres and kicks a very nice goal. They get 2 in a row to the Raiders, and they extend the lead as we tick through 23 minutes in the second quarter. They have now moved on to 8 goals to Maryborough Castlemaine, a 5-goal-6.
They just seem to be able to convert.
Here, there, and everywhere with it.
What are the total inside 50s?
Inside 50s.
16 for 8.
Exactly.
So there's your story right there, isn't it?
Yep.
As up they go again in the centre of the ground again. Reid knocked it into the path of Matthew Smith, who just tapped it into the path of Templeton. His handball missed Smith. Smith goes again, slides in, gets it back to Templeton. They've worked their way to the forward 50, and Aspland, who gets it on the boot. It's right to the line. Oh, Driscoll in front position has... No, he hasn't.
No,
It's
the umpire's
play
let
on,
that
the
one
umpire
go.
said, so they've rushed it through for a behind in the end. Gee, I thought Driscoll had a big piece of it. In the meantime, though, Parsons will do the kicking in. They've gone to 5-7 now, Maryborough. The kick in went through the hands of Chalice and over the line. We're 60 metres out from the Lions' goal now. I thought he had a fair piece of that, I must say, Ash Driscoll, but umpire disagreed, and they've
Got to have to have it completely to earn it today.
Yeah, they've done a very good job so far today, the umpires. Now from the throw-in, it came to Nick Wright, who might have been taken high.
Picked out by the umpire off the play. It's high contact, and it looks like it's going there to Joel Cross.
That was there, but the umpire that was about 2 yards from it didn't see it, so that's why it was a late whistle.
Yeah, no, Nick. I think it was Nick Wright. Yeah, Nick Wright, who was taken high, and he goes into Driscoll, who just on the second attempt can't get it. He recovered best, got a little handball to Joel Cross, who was taking a tackle. We're at the top of the goal square now. It came out to Driscoll. That was Cody, and he misses from point blank range and snaps it behind. They go to, what are they now? 5 goals, 8. Maryborough.
Yes.
They are trailing Geelong District, who are 8 goals 2, and we've gone 25 minutes and change here in the second quarter as Parker just brings it in with a little chip into the pocket, and Collins, here's little chip, finds Fletcher, still 30 metres out from his defensive goal. He kicks clear of the defensive 50 now, and well, the target there was Cations. He couldn't quite mark it on the second attempt, and they pick his pocket, send it back into Brown, who marks. He's got Strickland lurking for him.
Yeah. They're paying Strickland no accountability at all out of the Geelong Raiders.
They've got to switch on to that and start using him, don't they?
Mind you, his Maryborough teammates haven't been using him to their best advantage either, so that's a downfall on both sides.
So Matt Brown, 45 metres out, fairly acute angle this. His side are 2 goals down as he kicks. It's not going to make the distance. Strickland flies in from the side. Asplin roves the crumb front and square and snaps it through from the goal square. They cut the margin back to 1 straight kick now to the Maryborough Castlemaine Lions. They trail Geelong, who are 8 goals 2, 50.
Much needed to keep just that buffer tight, nice and tight.
Yeah, they've had the opportunities here. It's 10 scoring shots to 14. 6 goals 8, 38, and Maryborough Castlemaine.
And they've had 10 more inside 50s. I mean, we say that so often, but it's just stating the bleeding obvious that they're just not converting.
Yeah, and I guess there's sometimes those things, you get the big forwards who are used to being their number one go-tos in their team. Sometimes they struggle. Now, a bit of volleyball in the centre finally gets knocked Maryborough Castlemaine's way. Smith, who's had a fair bit of it, gets into the path of Asplin, the goal kicker. He just couldn't get handle on the footy and slipped over. The siren sounds as Cody Driscoll was handballing the ball into some dangerous space. So after what has been a cracking first half of footy here on Main FM, it is 8 goals to 50, the Geelong District Raiders. They are leading Maryborough Castlemaine 6 goals 8, 44. So it is just a kick the difference at the long break in favour of the Geelong District after they led by 17 points at the first break. They now lead by just a single goal at half time. Paul Wicks, how have you seen